It is now time to showcase the talent of our best female fast boat sailors from around the world on the America's Cup stage.
This part of the regatta is just about qualifying for the next phase. You know, we have to be in the top 3 after the next 4 races.
Athena Pathway, Great Britain are making a statement.
My heart is exploding with emotions.
Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli nailing it on them. They know the British are dangerous.
We will keep on fighting for sure.
Italians, good shift on that right-hand side, back in the game.
It's quite difficult to keep the boat fast, but for sure it's an amazing boat.
Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli look dangerous.
Each day is so valuable, and our learning curve is still going up and up. Feels like such a blessing and opportunity to be here.
Tight battle this, closest we've seen them all.
Really acknowledging how important this event is to some epic racing, some chaotic conditions. I'm buzzing.
It's all about trust your teammates on board.
We're just coming out swinging for the next race.
Quality teams, well drilled, practice, great racecraft. The battle has started.
Bienvenidos and welcome to Barcelona. It's the last day for teams in Group A of the PUIG Women's America's Cup to make the semi-finals. And today it is the America's Cup teams fighting to make the cut, and it's close racing in this group. Italy have been the standout team with 3 wins, but the rest of the fleet is closing. The competition has been tough, and all teams are working overtime to minimise mistakes to ensure they are in tomorrow's semi-finals. The prize awaiting one team is the PUIG Women's America's Cup. All teams have stated they want to be the one to have their name etched on the trophy come Sunday. Today we'll complete the qualification round. Group B is already completed. The top 3 point scorers in each group then head into tomorrow's semi-finals, where there are 4 more races to find the top 2. Those 2 will then have earned the right to battle for the PUIG Women's America's Cup. So here it is, the final 4 races in Group A laid out for teams to make the run into the semi-finals. Emirates Team New Zealand's just above the cut line, Alingi Red Bull Racing just below. 6 teams will start the day, only 3 will survive. And it is time to get down to business. This is a big day for Group A. Stephen McIver, Shirley Robertson, Glenn Ashby and Peter Lester on the water. Smiles all around, but we've always said those smiles hide the intensity of what is about to unfold out on the water, Shirley.
Yeah, it's an important day. I mean, these teams have waited quite a few days to get back out on the racetrack. Conditions, Saskia Clark having a good boogie. It's an important day. 3 boats will be going home, so even though the conditions are hard today, they have to perform.
It's going to be a really, really interesting day today. The breeze possibly on the lighter end at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see whether that fills in shortly. We're all looking forward to some great racing as we've seen in the past.
So we already know that 3 teams are through from Group B. That's Sweden, the Netherlands and Spain in Group B in that order. Who goes through today? Currently it's Italy, Great Britain and New Zealand, the top 3, but the cut is very tight. So it's a big day for the bottom 3, Sweden, Switzerland, France and the USA.
Yeah, it's important. It's all about making the cut. You have to be in the top 3. So important for Switzerland, France and USA to really make an impression in these races.
So, what we're talking about here is the AC40s and the PUIG Women's America's Cup. And the America's Cup is just a symbol of excellence. We are witnessing the world's best sailors on the water here in Barcelona in pursuit of the PUIG Women's America's Cup. Now, to sail these one-design high-speed AC40s to victory, 4 have to think as one, and success comes down to the talent and skill of the sailing team.
It's a big step for women to be given this opportunity.
There will never be a first one again. This is it.
I think it's a really good step in the right direction.
We really do have the best in the world racing against each other.
We provide no excuses for Cup teams to not look at female sailors in the talent pool for the traditional Cup teams in the future.
When I was a kid, I was always saying, oh my God, I want to do that, Luna Rossa America's Cup. I'm feeling very, very lucky and honored to be part of this team.
Good start by all of the fleet in the PUIG Women's America's Cup.
Boat coming across us on
the PUIG Women's America's Cup is a landmark event. In lots of sports, there is tokenism. We just don't believe in that.
I got it. Holding and rolling down. Brava, raga, bravissime, cazzo.
We believe that people should be there under their own talent. But women don't have a natural pathway into the America's Cup.
This is a who's who of women's sailing.
The format of the women's event is we have 6 from the America's Cup teams and we have 6 from the invited teams, and they each race separately in separate pools, and then we take 3 winners from the America's Cup team side, 3 winners from the invited teams, and they come together for a set of fleet racing. And from there, the top 2 winners of the fleet race come together for a final match race, and it's whoever wins that takes all.
Because there's going to be teams that push it too far, and they'll end up on their sides. The high speeds that they're capable of makes split-second decisions critical.
There's no age limit for competing. We're seeing a lot of talent across all disciplines of sailing. We have a lot from the offshore field, we have a lot from the Olympics, and just fresh back from Paris, we have some Olympic medalists.
So it's a great day for sailing, but especially for women in sports.
And I really hope that we're going to inspire 5-year-old, 8-year-old girls to follow their dreams, and those little girls can say, hey, see, there's professional sailing, I can go and do that.
Keeping speed on to make this drive, boundary drive.
To win the first ever Women's America's Cup would be just unbelievable.
I think the moment is now, and it's just the momentum's going to carry.
Glorious day here in Barcelona. So why don't we meet the teams in Group A?
When we watched this team on day 1, the sailing world sat up and noticed. Impressively fast, super smooth, they bossed it. Led by the hugely experienced Julia Conte, she has galvanized her talented young team into a formidable challenger. Offside helm is Margarito Porro, and the trimmers Fava and Jubilee.
Without doubt, the hot favourites coming into this, they sit in second place after day 1 and will be looking for a solid day to cement their place in the semis. Sharing driving duties is 3-time Olympic medalist Hannah Mills and the young talent of Tash Bryant. Trimming the sails is Hannah Diamond and Saskia Clark.
Representing the Defender, this Kiwi outfit is made up of sailors with a lifetime of fast boat experience. Currently in 3rd spot, they need a solid day to guarantee that place in the final. Leading the team is Liv Mackay. Opposite her, the experienced Jo Allais. And on performance, it's Molly Meach and multi-hull talent Gemma Jones.
Within touching distance on the cut, Alinghi Red Bull Racing team need to fight for their cup future. On driving is the experienced 3-time Olympian Natalie Brugier and former junior skiff champ Alexandra Stalder. And driving on the trim in smooth manoeuvres is Anna Von Allen and all-round sailing talent Lauren Matrode.
Orient Express Racing team will have been disappointed with their opening results. They sit in 5th spot, needing a corker of a day to make the cut. The team is full of proven talent. They just need to reset and make the magic happen. Driving is Ujuru and 3-times match racing world champion Courtois. And on trim, it's Olympic bronze medalist Ritourné and Manon Oudinot.
This talented American Magic team find themselves in 6th place after a frustrating opening day. They have to do a lot to make the cut. The driving team of Francesca Klapsic and Erika Reinecker need to steady the ship and deliver. With possibly the toughest job in these tricky conditions is the trimmers, Sarah Stone and Louisa Nordstrom.
Well, this lineup of Cup teams are well practiced and ready to show us what they've got, but it is a brutal format. After these 4 races, 3 teams go home. There is no second chance. They need to give it everything, and the conditions today are really going to test their skills and their adaptability. We've a very unstable, light northwesterly breeze blowing over the city. It's 4 to 10 knots, and the prediction for the day is also for it to rotate to the southeast. For sure, it's going to be unstable and changeable. But to help us watching and see what's coming, we have the helping hand of technology with Windsight IQ. It gives us a reliable picture of real-time wind. We'll then blend that with AC40 performance numbers, and we can have a good go at predicting the likely winning course. Right now, the Ghost Boat is struggling with it all to find the winning pathway, but currently it's looking like it's hitting that left-hand boundary and straight into the top mark in this tiny squash course.
So let's go on to the water and hear from Peter Lester just to get his feel about how this one's going to unfold at this early part of the day. Peter, good morning.
Morning, Stephen. Yeah, the westerly, southwesterly looks like it's lightening off, which I think that's forecast. The talking point out here, I think, is the swell state. We don't really have any waves generated by the wind at the moment, but there's a quite a big swell running from the southeast direction, and I think that's going to make it really tricky for the teams when we get into the southwesterly conditions later in the day. Light winds, big swell state.
Thanks, Pete. Appreciate it. That as we take a look at Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli team, 3 wins. It was 5 days ago. Crikey, just think that they haven't been on the water racing for 5 days, but when they got going, they started with a 4th position, then just slammed their advantage home with 3 straight wins, surely.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if they can keep up that level of performance today. It is a very different day. There is lots going on with the weather conditions, and as we've seen, these are the hardest conditions, really. Light wind, marginal foiling, joining the breeze together. It's a proper challenge.
A really different day today than we saw a few days ago. So, you know, the good teams adapt, and ultimately, you know, to make that top 3, the cream of the crop will rise, and that top 3 will certainly deserve to go through to the semis for sure.
It is worth looking at the top 3. Athena Pathway, Great Britain, sitting in 2nd position, just the 4 points behind the Italians. They've got a win and very consistent all the way through here. 1-3-2-2, and as we've said many times, like the UniCredit Youth America's Cup with the PUIG Women's America's Cup, loading on the points is very important. You need to be consistently high up.
Yeah, very much the form team coming into this, well resourced. They've been here all summer. You know, have the assistance of Ineos Britannia as well. So they're ready to go, but still you have to deliver on the racetrack. They have a little bit of a points buffer, but that could so quickly evaporate conditions like today. So a lot of pressure on these teams on this final day of this round.
Let's take a look at the points as it stacks up, because just below Athena Pathway Great Britain is Emirates Team New Zealand. Look, there's not much in this when you think of it. Look where Alingi Red Bull Racing are, sitting just below the cut line. You could say 4 goes into 1, because it looks like Luna Rossa and Athena Pathway, let's be real about this, they are the 2 hot teams in this competition. But I reckon it's come down again to that 3rd position. Everyone from 3 to 6 is on it.
They certainly are, and even you're having a look at Orient Express, L'Oreal Racing, 6-5-4-3, you know, they are in the hunt as well. And if the Americans have a good day too, with 4 races to go, we're realistically only halfway through this series. So with 4 races to go, a lot going on.
Don't get too excited with what you're seeing there. It's
No,
definitely
no,
on the toe.
They're definitely under tow, but Emirates Team New Zealand are a little up and down. They started the first race, solid came in second, then they go 4-3-4. Again, a team with pressure on it, being part of the Defender outfit.
I feel on the opening day we didn't really see the best of this team. You know, they are full of really experienced talent on board. And I think they would have been slightly frustrated they didn't manage to string it together, although they do sit in third. So hopefully they've had time to reset. They would have been in the simulator, there would have been lots of coaching sessions, and they come out firing today.
Alingi Red Bull Racing is just 3 points below the cut line, so they sit on 15 points. Emirates Team New Zealand on 18. They went 3-2, and then when it got quite rough on those last two races of the day, they sort of struggled. They went basically 6 and 5, so a last and second to last. So they really struggled on those last two rough days.
Yeah,
races, excuse me.
The bumpy conditions are really, really tricky to sail in. I mean, I think when we see the closest racing is when we see flatter water around that sort of 12, 13 knots of breeze. That's where the boats are at their most easily sailed. When it gets bumpy and when it gets shifty, it actually is really, really tricky to lock it in. And that's where the collaboration, connectivity between the trimmers and the helms actually make a huge, huge difference.
So here's the funny thing. On the flip side, you had Orient Express L'Oreal Racing, who started the first two races and struggled 6 and 5, but yet then they found their rhythm. They went 4th and 3rd, so their profile started to improve.
I think also, there wasn't any preliminary races. They were straight in on that day one, so a little bit of nerves and rust around, racing in these boats. And as you say, that French team, they are well practiced, and they did get better and better. I mean, you can see even from these shots what Peter was talking about in the sea state. It is big. It was very windy here yesterday, and we have that leftover sea coming the whole length of the Mediterranean. So it will cause problems. We can see, I'm sure we'll see boats falling off the foils. They're hard to get going again.
And do you believe in magic? Well, we know American Magic does believe in magic. They're going to have to believe in some very big magic and find their rhythm, find their space, because they're sitting well below the cut line, 5-6, 5-6, and their profile and their learning curve is really going to have to change today. As 4 races, don't make that cut. It's science. See you later.
It is, and look, as we've seen with all this racing, teams can have their good races and bad races, and if the American team of American Magic has a good day today, they could have a couple of good ones early on, and they could be absolutely in the mix. So it's all open, only halfway through the series.
Get a good start, go the right way, stay on the foils, keep it simple.
Tack when it flaps.
Well, that's the one thing we have learned when we saw Group B, wasn't it? The trimmers, they were the masters. If you had the trimming on point, you were going to be up the top.
The trimming side of things, I think, is really key to a lot of sailing, particularly in high performance sailing. You're actually going through the waves so quickly compared to a sort of a slower dinghy, for example. There's a lot of steering up and around the swell and through the waves. When you're just going the speeds that these AC40s are, you're literally just blasting through the waves. So a lot of accurate steering, but really, really accurate trimming to actually deal with the speeding up and the slowing down in the sea state.
We have been treated, though, to some magnificent sailing in the PUIG Women's America's Cup, and I think that's what has excited us, the fact that when conditions change, the adaptability of the teams have figured it out quickly, and by the second race you see different results. We have seen the likes, though, of Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli adapt probably the fastest, and that's the exciting thing. What will day 4 of the regatta open up? Well, you'll just have to wait and see. The America's Cup is the oldest and greatest obsession in the world, and for the first time we're turning a page on a new chapter, what you have been seeing for the last 3 days, the PUIG Women's America's Cup. Now, kids around the world hope and dream that one day, just one day, they might get the chance to make history. Well, that dream is now a reality for this team, the Italian team.
Participating at the first Women's America's Cup, it's an honor. When I was a kid, I was always saying, oh my God, I want to do that, Luna Rossa America's Cup. When I stop and think about it, it's just like, wow, it's the first time and I'm here. So I'm feeling very, very lucky and honored to be part of this team.
It's a dream coming true, but still didn't realize it. Actually, I think I will realize it on the first day of racing, probably. But yeah, I'm very happy and proud.
For sure, being a NACRA sailor, it was very easy for me to just go on the AC40 and be on a fast boat, because I always do that. And also racing on a fast boat is not a simple thing. You have to be used to it.
Sailing NACRA 17 is really helpful for my knowledge in the AC40 and also for the speed, the sensations and stuff like that. You feel the boat on the, I don't know how to say it, on the ass instead of the hands. I mean a little bit less, but yeah, simulator and NACRA 17 have been important part of my preparation. My opposite helm is Giulia Conti. She is an icon for Italy, a female icon. She has a very good view of the sailing course, so she just gives a look and already knows what to do. But it's also hard to understand her mind and try to stay on pace.
It's not easy just to do your job for half of the time. So I think we can give something every time. Streamers are always focused on the boat and helping the helms to set the targets and see outside.
For sure, we can start to anticipate each other. It's the game that requires it. It's better for us to train in English because in Italian we talk a lot, you know. For saying a thing, we say more words than in English. And for us looks better because the communication is more clear.
We have a lot of support from the Italians, and that's like that. Italy always do it like that. We are all in something.
Because in Italy Luna Rossa is very important. It's like the national team of football. And everybody talks about it when the cup starts. Everybody tries to send us good vibes, also for the wind, and so we feel that support for sure.
The Arts Hotel to the left-hand side, that's the one with the exoskeleton, and that has one of our cameras on top, as does the W Hotel. It is one of those days today. We just have to keep on going. Now let's talk about the pathway, Shirley, that the AC40 has opened up, not just in the PUIG Women's America's Cup, but also the UniCredit Youth America's Cup. It's literally like someone's opened a huge door and said, hey, look what you can do, and it's really exciting.
I mean, for me, the most exciting thing is that it's probably not a one-off. There will be now an AC40 circuit open to everyone. So the boats, there'll be more and more AC40s, and then there's more opportunities to do more and more. So that's great news. And I think nearly all the challengers, you know, whoever won the America's Cup, have committed to keeping the Women's America's Cup, Youth America's Cup going. So to have something in the future to work towards is so important, not just a one-off event, you know, part of the show here in Barcelona, but actually, as you say, a pathway that will continue.
Because the sailing we have seen, Shirley, has been so exciting. It's been up and down, and we've seen the women adapt very quickly, but there will be young women out there going, wow, hang on a minute, I hadn't even thought of sailing, and they're seeing these fiery fast boats going, hey, Mum and Dad, I wouldn't mind doing something. Can we start somewhere?
Well, they do cost $3 million.
I understand
it's
that.
Quite a big Christmas present. But, you know, in the last decade, boats have got faster and faster. And young kids, men and women, have grown up sailing boats like, you know, 29ers, small skiffs, foiling moths, wasps, and they're ready for something else. And you can't just step into an AC75. And this is absolutely, you know, it is technologically advanced, it is fast, it is complex, and every woman taking part here has seen it as a massive opportunity.
You're just seeing footage from Group A, which was 5 days ago. And yes, the challenges, Glenn, and the challenge of sailing an AC40. Some say, oh, well, it looks easy, but it's certainly not easy at all, is it?
No, look, it's absolutely not. And you know, in flat water and nice smooth breeze, anyone could jump on. You know, you get on there, Stephen, and have a spear around. No worries in those flatter water conditions driving, provided you've got some great trimmers sitting behind you, trimming the sails, looking after your wobbles. But no, look, the boats are tricky. Certainly in a sea state, you know, it is tricky. The boats only weigh 2,000 kilograms, so they're very, very light for their size. So. Compared to the AC75, which is around 7,000 kilograms, you know, they're only 2/3 the scale. So power to weight ratio, they're actually very, very powerful, but they're very, very light. So the actual scaling of the boats, you know, has basically come from, they're like a baby version of the AC75 from a sort of an operational perspective. The electronics and the hydraulics in these little AC40s are simpler than what's in an AC75, but the operating system is basically the same. So whether you're on a 30-foot, a 40-foot, a 50-foot, or 80 or 100-foot boat, the PLC or the programmable logic controller that actually, you know, your button presses and all your functions, there's as much going on in these little AC40s as there is in the bigger boats.
Yeah, but and the one thing we've used the line, it takes four to think as one, because the real thing that we have seen obviously in the AC75s, twin helms, and each helm can't see each other, so they've really got to be in sync, and that's another aspect to take into account of having to sail it correctly, right?
Yeah, look, there's a lot of numbers and a lot of buttons there to press, so you can see some of the numbers on board there. They're basically true wind angles. You've got targets, you've got boat speed, you've got cant angles, Cunningham loads, main sheet loads, mast rotation, outhaul positioning. All that information, if you like, is fed back to the trimmers and the helms, as well as the race management software, which is on the right-hand side of screen there. So a lot of information provided. The actual button systems, there's a lot of logic behind these AC40s that makes the boats a lot simpler to sail. So the AC75's very, very complicated from an operational perspective because you're getting every little detail lined up. The AC40s are set up more simply to make them more robust and more reliable, and obviously nowhere near the performance of the AC75 as well.
It's been a huge opportunity for learning for both the youth taking part and the women. Most of the women here would not have sailed a complex boat with lots of electronics. It's all based on feel, what the main sheet feels like, what the load on the rudder feels like. So this has been, win or lose here this week, a massive opportunity to learn really where the sport's going.
So 6 minutes and 30 and counting to the start on race number 5 of Group A. Let's go on the water with Peter Lester. Peter, you would have been listening. We're talking about this being a pathway, a magnificent pathway for young sailors going forward. You've been in high performance sailing in a previous life. I mean, if you'd had this opportunity or seen this opportunity in the future for sailors, I mean, would you have got really excited about it?
Oh, I think it's a different world for sailors now. It's all about foiling, and you go around yacht clubs around the world. What do you see the little kids doing down on the dock? They either kite foiling or sailing small dinghies that foil. I think it's brilliant. And now to see the Youth America's Cup and the Women's America's Cup in these AC40s, brilliant. And the additional skills and that the sailors acquire to sail these things is really mind-boggling. Yeah, it is the future of our sport, and the sport needs to keep moving forward with technology. You cannot stand still, and if you want to attract young brains, young minds.
All right, thanks, Peter. Appreciate that time. 5 minutes and 24 seconds of counting towards a start in race number 5, Group A. Just a reminder, Italy, Athena Pathways, Great Britain, and Emirates Team New Zealand. Those are your top 3. Remember, the top 3 from today go through to tomorrow's semi-final. So there is a lot on the line today.
This is the race committee. We are postponing the start of race 5 to 11:40.
So confirmation that the wind just isn't doing what it's supposed to. That's 10 minutes away. So we will just have to be patient on that one. The British fans are here in their droves, and why wouldn't they be? They've got Athena Pathway, Great Britain, and a good spot in the PUIG Women's America's Cup, and of course, Ineos Britannia sitting, getting ready for the match for the Louis Vuitton 37th America's Cup on Saturday against Emirates Team New Zealand. Okay, let's bring you some racing. Let's go right back to the opening day of the PUIG Women's America's Cup. Group A, race 1.
Lining up well, New Zealand, Great Britain.
Yep. Very slow. 7th kill line. Any pressure?
There's some late starters here by the look of this start. The Kiwis and the British look like they're going to be on time.
Maybe a bit longer.
They got stuck in bad air, dirty air on that right-hand side.
One coming up. Coming up, yeah. I'll get there.
History is made. Welcome to race 1 and the very first PUIG Women's America's Cup.
Okay, no one below. Or down into. Okay, just getting settled here. Yeah. One above tax. Put on numbers.
Great Britain had the best start there, just 13 metres back, 28 knots. Nicely executed by Hannah Mills.
Happy to go 15 to boundary. Okay, taking in 3,
Tom's
2,
on board.
1, board down.
It's Team New Zealand.
And turning. In knots. Board in 2. Hi, mate. 1. And angle. Yeah.
Remember, from these series of races, half will go through to meet half from the other groups. So important to be consistent, to be in the top 3. Also, the pointing, the scoring system really rewards a podium place.
1 to build. Okay, on speed. Happy to press though, keep it fast.
Considering what happened on the water yesterday, it's quite ironic that the 2 leading teams at the moment on opening day are a team from Great Britain and 1 from New Zealand.
And also more top right.
Jo Allais, gold and silver medalist.
Yeah, I think it's very shifty and very patchy, so let's just, you know,
This is a sneak preview of possibly what's to come in another week or so's time. Both teams really, really locked in. Funnily enough, with identical boats in this fleet, very, very similar performance.
And you can imagine too that Athena Pathway will be buoyed at what happened yesterday with Yacht Britannia going through to the match. That will flow through the whole team.
Certainly will. There's the Italian team of Luna Rossa there. Over speed, 28 knots versus 23. They'll be able to sail up into a position of clear air.
They've done so well to come back. Had a really average start. They'll learn from that, but great pace here, moving up through the field.
They are absolutely ripping, the Italian team. Very, very, very good boat speed there compared to the Kiwis, the British to windward.
At the moment, we won't make one of that.
Like a lot higher ride height on board.
Happy to go for that.
The Italians versus the Kiwis there.
They will likely go on lay for right turn. Pretty sure looks good, top right.
Getting up near the top, decisions around the ley line. Such a short track, this.
Slowing down there. Can go a little more on boundary in 10.
Red Bull Racing also making their way back into this race as well after a slow maneuver restart.
17, 18.
Emirates Team New Zealand went under the ley line. We'll have more manoeuvres to do.
Express, very slow. Okay. I'll lower the build.
Wow, you can really see that swell from that aerial shot, rolling from left to right across the field.
So the boats effectively surfing upwind on those swells. You can see there the swell basically coming from behind the boats and getting onto one of those swells. A big advantage. You can really gain some performance if you can surf those well.
The fleet really is starting to pack in at the top gate for the first time. This will be the completion of leg 1 of 4. And as we head into that top gate, leading the fleet will be Athena Pathway. Great Britain take that final tack. They will be followed through by Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli.
No issues behind.
Oh, Luna Rossa off the foils. Slow manoeuvre, having to stay slow to get round the mark.
They'll need to get down to about 90 degrees true wind angle. The problem is now they're punching straight into that swell, so difficult to take off. They may have to actually tack or jibe to take off down swell.
And the question is, can Emirates Team New Zealand now take advantage of that as they and American Magic complete the first leg, followed by the Swiss from Alingi Red Bull Racing, and still quite some way, Orient Express L'Oreal Racing.
Away, two, then go down. Bring away. And angle here. I have the gas of the boat in front.
Like a really big hole of wind up the top end of this course here. Shirley, a lot more pressure where the boats actually started. They've sailed up into some fairly light breeze. You can see the angles there. Everyone just back and forward across the course trying to stay on the foils in this slightly light patch. The boats that get away will sail into the back of that good breeze, which is the British team, and they should extend to a really, really solid lead if they can keep the boat forward.
Certainly patchy at the top of the course, and what's running through my mind is, with it being so patchy and the breeze on and off, is minimising manoeuvres, and I think that's what Great Britain have done so well. Beautiful start, and their manoeuvres have been kept to a minimum, and they've really benefited through that, and they have extended out to a pretty comfortable lead.
Yeah, Pete's right. I mean, great start and just kept it very simple, good execution. We're seeing at the top of the track, it is only between 6, 7, 8 knots, occasionally really, really patchy. But Athena Pathway extending into more pressure, 10 knots at the bottom of the course. This impressive lead is going to get bigger and bigger.
There's a little battle just brewing here, isn't there, between Alingi Red Bull Racing and American Magic for that potential, let's be very careful, potential final podium spot. I've got to say, though, I'm somewhat surprised. You'll excuse us for being somewhat surprised as what's going with Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, who went 3 from 3 in practice racing.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, shortening the course to 1.2 nautical miles and shifting the axis to 210.
And Maxi's there. That's your angle for the Americans, that's your angle. Reducing clue. Okay, on this angle for the Americans. So just watch them behind you. They try to bring some traveler up, please. Yep, give me some view. Rolling down.
Really, really tight battle between those two boats. And as you mentioned before, Shirley, Rich just getting Rich up at the moment, just sailing down into that extra pressure. So that rubber band just getting stretched. Well, it doesn't break and come back and flick you in the eye. They're in good shape.
Well, picking up the wheel on port side is Tash Bryant.
Looks like a really nice pressure through here.
Athena Pathway, Great Britain, are making a statement to the rest of Group A in this opening race of the PUIG Women's America's Cup. They have got a leg on the fleet, so to speak, and they are just, well, they're just cruising beautifully right now as they complete leg number 2 of 4.
So that lighter air will eventually make its way down the course. So Kiwis need to pull this jibe off nice and cleanly. They're in a decent bit of pressure there, but they should be able to execute that no problem. But they'll be sailing back upwind into that slightly lighter pressure. So they'll be wanting to pick their timing to make sure they manoeuvre in the best pressure they possibly can to keep the boat. The foils will give themselves the best chance of doing that.
What's really interesting, and we had the, the advantage of seeing the practice racing, that both these boats had their issues in practice racing, and the improvement is off the charts, particularly for Emirates Team New Zealand. And the starting by Athena Pathway Great Britain. So it's 1 and 2, Athena Pathway Great Britain, then Emirates Team New Zealand.
And 2, 1, angle.
Right, saying 50 to boundary, 200.
Both the American team and the Swiss having to jibe to get to this bottom gate.
Or
So
down in 3,
two
2,
very
1, or
important
down.
maneuvers, Shirley, coming up now.
It's going to be pretty hot out of it. Yep. Moving try behind. Yep. Or down.
This is a great little dance between these two boats. As you can see on the bottom of your screen, at this point, it's American Magic in third position and Elite Red Bull Racing in fourth position. Just keep your eye on the bottom of your screen, wherever you are. That'll tell you where your team is on the racecourse and their position.
Bit of a lefty angle.
Nice.
198 on the breeze.
Copy, big lefty then. Be patient, focus on our boat.
Yeah.
Let's try to power a bit, Tanya.
Yeah, coming.
Powering up.
Okay.
All these teams are associated with cup teams. Some have worked more closely than others, but all of them, as we can see, are pretty well practiced and drilled. What they haven't had a lot of time to practice is racecraft in AC40s on these tiny, tiny courses. But as you said, Stephen, we will see that progress.
Building here for attack.
It will be, we've used this term before, but it will be vertical progression, and you'll see it quite simply in the results.
Okay.
Stand by.
Back with the Athena Pathway, not in a great deal of breeze, but doing really well to keep it flying. Really joining the bits of pressure together.
Okay, dust on in 10.
It was a big day for British sailing yesterday. British fans will be loving this. Hannah Mills and her team leading the way on race 1.
Right now, it's a case of everything they touch turns to gold. How good, huh?
Tash Bryant, Hannah Diamond on the port side, Hannah Diamond on aero trim there, and reflective goggles there of Tash Bryant. We just see how much wheel work in these swelly conditions that's needing to be done to keep the boat on track. A lot of trimming there. Sitting behind, keeping that heel locked in. Really important job by the trimmers to keep that heel angle constant. Keep the boat locked in. It's great to see Ben Ainsley down there this morning too, Shirley, cheering
Seems to be all right on port, but we're a
the
bit
women's team on.
I think he's allowed a day off.
Probably deserves one after yesterday, I think, old Ben. Hopefully got breakfast in bed this morning and eggs on toast.
Well, according to Luke Parkinson, they weren't going back to work till Monday, so they've taken his advice.
Something on the bow.
Hopefully Luke made it home last night, knowing Parko. They all deserve a good rest. One more manoeuvre, tacking in pressure, Athena Pathway, so that's the right place to tack, right to meet with that puff. Best chance to stay on the foils.
Watching the boats come up wind, what's interesting is how hard it is on starboard as we look at an Athena Pathway just tack. Because of the seaway, you're punching straight into the waves coming out on starboard. And it's just on that starboard tack that you're liable to touch down. A little bit more pressure at the top of the course this time.
Yeah, it looks okay. We probably just want to get
Athena
out there a bit
Pathway,
earlier than last time.
Great Britain will lead the fleet into the final downwind leg, and that will be the homebound run. Oh, just a little bit of a tiny wobble, then they get their AC40 back up and falling beautiful. This is an outstanding performance in these conditions.
It's a great shot from the front there. You can see how tricky those waves are. You've got to get the timing so right, so accurate.
Looks pretty similar across the course now.
Saskia Clark sitting behind Hannah Mills. Hannah on the steering wheel. Saskia there on sail control.
It was that good patch.
Saskia was Hannah's crew. Took a gold and a silver medal. Silver in London, gold in Rio. Trusted team.
They know each other really, really well.
19, 20.
Experience all together. A lot of experience on board this Kiwi boat as well. sailing over to that pressure, just a little bit over ley line, but just doing everything they can to keep the boat on the foils. All about staying on the foils in these light, shifty conditions. Sometimes sailing a little bit of extra distance is what's needed to make sure you execute the manoeuvre and keep the boat foiling.
Emirates Team New Zealand holding position 2. That's worth 7 points if they maintain that position by the end of the race. And these could be important points as the racing goes on. Remember, each group has 8 fleet races.
On a big touchdown by the US team. They've had a big wobble out on that right-hand side of the course, upwind, and that will be a huge loss. The American Magic team are really struggle in this light patch to get refoiling. Switzerland absolutely boosting and possibly taking the right turn if they can lay that. That's a massive, massive shutdown for the US team. Unfortunate.
Just having another look at this manoeuvre.
Don't have it.
Just running out of horsepower from the wind in that case, so not much you can do when you sail into a hole. Just can't keep the boat up to speed. The Italians also potentially in a passing opportunity with the American team.
But it's opened the gate for Alingi Red Bull Racing. They had a lovely battle going downwind, and they literally were going through that bottom gate for the final time, neck and neck. But now, one moment, we say it all the time, one moment, and it will be costly. But my gosh, look at the lead that Athena Pathway Great Britain has on Emirates Team New Zealand.
Well, you don't get points for distance. The Kiwis just need to hang in here. Get second spot and a ton of points.
20 seconds off.
Yeah, impressive first day performance from Hannah Mills. Double gold, silver medalist. Saskia Clark behind her.
Hannah.
I quite want to dive before this nasty wave from this lovely camera boat. On my board down in 3, 2, 1, board down.
I will. Board exit. Board up. All the way up.
They've been here in Barcelona since early summer, and you can tell, well practiced, confident crew.
It's been a statement performance by Athena Pathway Great Britain in Group A of the opening day of the PUIG Women's America's Cup. They have done a magnificent job, and they will bank 10 points. They top the fleet with 3 races to go today. And finish it a little bit of style.
Oh, you might as well get the postcard photo on your first race with a bit of spray. Great effort. Athena Pathway.
It was a great start by Athena Pathway Great Britain on day 1, Group A. That was a good week.
This is the race committee. Unfortunately, we don't have enough wind to sail at this time, so we'll try again later today. Please head back to shore for now. Thanks for your patience.
So confirmation from race management that we are now postponing racing. Our understanding is that we will attempt to go racing. The weather looks more favourable at 2 p.m. Local time, but don't go anywhere because we've got plenty of racing still to come. So not the perfect start to the day, but another chance for teams to go back and sit down and go, right, reset, how do we approach the afternoon?
Yes, and confidence is quite high for this afternoon. The breeze is already starting to rotate round. It will be hard though. We still have that sea state, but with a bit more wind, hopefully we have some great racing.
Yeah, the more time that sort of ticks away, that swell should drop away. So yeah, flatter water obviously better suited to the AC40s for really close racing. So that swell will drop away, and hopefully that breeze kicks in this afternoon.
So as you can see, the points-wise, this is where we stack up in Group A. Now, it's always just good to remind you how the system works. The top 3 in each group go through to the semi-finals. Those semi-finals are set down for tomorrow as the top 3 teams in each. Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli sitting on 33 points, followed by Athena Pathway Great Britain, then Emirates Team New Zealand. The battle we have already discussed many times, it is always comes down to basically that 3rd spot. So if you go through 4, 5 and 6, you basically are looking at those teams with a huge shout in having that 3rd spot. But let's not forget, Emirates Team New Zealand are not going to be just going out there and saying, yeah, have a crack at us. They're going to be going, well, actually, we'd like to sit above Athena Pathway. We'd like to be matching Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. In Group B, they have already completed. They are the Sweden, the Netherlands and Spain. And as we saw before, Andu Team Australia, they had an opportunity and it went down to race 8, the last race in their group.
Yeah, look, it was a really, really tight battle there. And, you know, with only those top 3 teams going through, very, very tricky. A lot of pressure on all the teams, and yeah, the top 3 of each Group A and Group B going through to the final, and from there, the top 2 going through to a match race final. Winner takes all.
So Shirley, let's take a look at Group A and B. Now, there are obviously 2 very strong teams in both these. When you look at Group B, we have been uber impressed by the Swedish challenge, but you know, I look at the locals. I look at Sail Team Barcelona and say, you know what? Just keep a little look over your shoulder with them.
Yeah, all these teams that qualified in Group B were pretty impressive, weren't they? I mean, Artemis, they had a little wobble the first day and were clearly frustrated and absolutely came out firing. They had 4 bullets when we last watched them race. They are slick, they're polished, well-resourced. They've been here all summer, and you know, two of the women on the boat also just hot from Paris, won the silver medal against 2 of the women in the Dutch boat. So, you know, great battle there and really showing their class. It's been pretty impressive.
One thing you can be guaranteed of, semi-finals tomorrow, 4 races, 6 will become 2, and it will simply be on here in Barcelona. You know, every team in the PUIG Women's America's Cup is in with a shot. 39 of France's best were invited to trial. Each athlete underwent aptitude tests and were graded on their foiling skills. The very best were invited to take a seat on these superfast AC40s and potentially foil their way into the history books.
It's pretty amazing for us to be part of the first Women's America's Cup here in Barcelona. I think when I was young, I never dreamed about it because it was only for men, but now here we are. We have our chance too. It's a great opportunity to be the first woman sailing in this kind of boat with all the AC-75 flying around us. To be able to cross with them on the water, even if we are smaller, and it's amazing to see, oh, we are on a lineup with American Magic or stuff like this. It's just amazing, I think. For all the women in the world, we were dreaming about being able to sail against these guys, and now it's happening. So we have world champion match racer as a helm on starboard, Pauline. I think Pauline is our secret weapon for the starts because she's an amazing match racer. She knows how to play with the other boats. And then Audrey, she comes from offshore sailing, but she was also a multi-hull sailor before. We used to sail together when we were young, so I know her from a long time ago now. My helm on port is super quiet and super precise, so it's really nice to be able to sail with people like this. We have Aloise, who got a medal in Tokyo on 470. She's really organized and strict on everything she's doing, so she's the one who gives the good rhythm on the boat. And myself, who sailed foiling boats since a few years now, so for sure I think I learned quite quickly compared to the other ones because I know how everything goes when the boat is fast and you have a really close racing. You don't see half of the boat, so you really have to trust the people on the other side. You have to work on the communication and the endovers and stuff like that. Yeah, the only thing you can do is just tap on your hand shoulder if you want to say anything. But yeah, it's really different. That's why we like it. I'm so happy that it's finally coming, you know? It was quite far from us and now it's getting real. I think it's going to be really exciting. Yeah, I just want to be well prepared, super focused with the knife between the teeth. We're really competitive with 12 teams, and the thing is we have all the same boats, so it's going to be really the sailors who's going to make the difference. And I love that about our Women's America's Cup. I love that it's going to be our skills and our training will make the difference on the water. It's also our responsibility to show the young sailors that everything is possible. Yeah, it's a big responsibility actually. I hope that they will just be confident enough to push and to get there in a few years. I think it's all about confidence and see the opportunities that you can get.
Officially day 4 of the PUIG Women's America's Cup and trying to complete Group A, the America's Cup teams, and that's where their base is at Port Olympique. Also just up the road from their Bogatel Beach, where the official opening ceremony of the Louis Vuitton 37th America's Cup will be held tonight at 9 p.m. local time. That's 9 p.m. local time. So check your guides wherever you are around the world, or just jump onto YouTube and watch it live from 9 p.m. local. In the meantime, let's go racing, shall we? And we'll take you to race 2, day 1, Group A.
This is the race committee. The wind sampling is complete, and this race is live.
So we're good to go in race number 2 of the PUIG Women's America's Cup. It's Group A, the America's Cup teams. Race 1 by Athena Pathway, Great Britain. Keep your eye on the start.
There's currently a little bit of left-hand bias. Also, the best pressure at the moment is top left. You might see a fight on that side of the track. All the teams now, they're not going down into the death corner on the right-hand side, all above the line.
Athena Pathway possibly off the foils out of one of their manoeuvres, so the only boat off their foils at the moment. Tash Bryant and Hannah Diamond, they're having a big job ahead of them to get back on the foils here. They must get the boat foiling, otherwise they will be in big, big trouble off this start. All other boats on the foils currently at the moment.
We've got 9 knots at the bottom of the track, but there's a lot of bad air as the boats go back and forward. Less than 2 minutes to get going.
The team's just up the course, just keeping up in that clear air. All teams now potentially 1, possibly 2 manoeuvres to go before having to get off the start line. A little bit too early on the board up there by Lindy Red Bull Racing. They might have just saved themselves there. A couple of other boats now coming off their foils as well.
The chase is coming on the British, got 15 knots, nearly at takeoff speed.
French team now off their foils as well. So big battle now for boat handling. Tricky little boats to sail in these bumpy conditions. That's what it's all about. The British may have just dug themselves out of that hole and foiling, so they'll be looking at executing their manoeuvre for an on-time start. So good job there, getting foiling again. The French needing to build speed. They'll be building in the dirty air of the other boats that have just sailed past them, so not ideal for the French team. Foreign Express Royale Racing currently.
Oh, the French could be in long-term parking there, on port, in the middle of the line, and all the bad air.
Let's go.
And Luna Rossa just on the foils there too, in bad air. Magic and the Kiwis driving back into the dirty air as well, so the British might get the whole shot here.
Race 2, Group A.
This is the umpires. Restart penalty France and restart penalty Switzerland.
America's Cup, and guess what? They may have been off their foils, but they're first out of the gate. Athena Pathway, Great Britain, big save.
Athena Pathway kept their eye on the prize and nailed it. They were 26 metres back, but who cares? They are leading the fleet in race 2.
Really big step change coming.
Yeah, touching the pressure in 5.
Might be a bit kind of sad.
Yeah, copy. Okay, when you're ready, we should roll.
Okay, stand by. Forward down in 3, 2, 1. Forward down. Turning.
High wheels. Forward up. Big build. Okay, nice pressure all along here.
This racetrack's full of danger, isn't it? Really got to judge all those manoeuvres, make sure you're in good pressure, up to speed.
We're seeing potentially gusts of about 12 knots on the left-hand side of the course there, and only about 6.5 to 7.5 knots on the right-hand side. So it will be really interesting to see if these two leading teams short tack and actually head back to that left-hand side of the course. Big pressure on the left, so don't be surprised to see some manoeuvres back to stay into that pressure.
Let's go now.
Press.
So the majority of the fleet flying except Emirates Team New Zealand.
The Kiwis just coming off their foils pre-start, jibing straight into a big bad patch of dirty air. Just no horsepower there to keep that AC40 aero package fuel injected.
Athena Pathways have just tacked, coming back into that pressure. What was talked about during races, especially from Great Britain, was the need to actually get into good old-fashioned trimming. They're on J2 jibs, and at the bottom of the range, when the wind's really light, they're probably a little bit underpowered. Top of the range, up around 12 knots, they're okay. But what the chatter was between races from Hannah Mills was, look, we need to trim the sails, just ease the sails a little bit if we need a bit more horsepower. And I think that was what they were doing when they jumped back on the foils after touching down pre-start.
If in doubt, ease it out.
Pretty good breeze in about 10.
Yep, tack when it flaps.
It works in a lot of boats.
Keep it simple. Swiss team digging their way back in, and also the French team, after being off the foils there at the start, also re-accelerating and now actually up into third position, which is great news for them.
High wheel, forward up. Speed all the time here. Yep, good angle. For attack there where it should be.
Athena Pathway actually had access to 2 boats, so in the last few weeks we have seen them out training. They have taken this seriously, and it shows, even in these difficult conditions.
Yeah, big
They're
step
looking
change
strong.
here for manoeuvres and things.
Race 1 winner, Athena Pathway, Great Britain.
It'll be a settle and then jibe.
Again, leading the fleet at the top gate. First leg of 4 completed. To think they were off the foils with about 1 minute and 20 to go before the start. And look where they are now.
Be surprised if we see an early jibe from the British team to sail back over to that pressure. And on cue, jibing. You can see there on the course, even by eye there without the wind field, just that lighter breeze looking downwind to the left.
In comes Lingy Red Bull Racing in position 2. Race 1, they were in position 3, so looking for points, valuable points. The way it's structured, you need big points. Then, Orient Express L'Oreal Racing, who finished at the tail of the fleet in race 1. They swing around the top gate in position 3. Oh. Enjoy the ride.
This is foiling, sailing 101 at the moment. It's all about short jibing on the downwind leg to stay in that pressure. There's obviously a huge discrepancy in pressure, so absolutely French needing to jibe, which they do, to stay in that pressure.
The battle here in the minor positions. Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, American Magic, who pulled their delay card. They follow each other around that left-hand mark of the top gate.
can go.
Still no sign of Emirates Team New Zealand up on their foils.
Vi posso scappare? Sì. E vai. 3, 2, 1, we're down.
Drive here.
Yeah, they go, they go.
The Americans really needing to keep the eyeballs out of the boat here. Possibly the early jibe there on, but they've decided to carry on into that lighter breeze. Be interesting to see how much ground they lose there.
Boundary in 10.
Okay, going more down.
Okay, 12.5 knots here, right hand shift.
Quite a lot of fluid here all the time, Han.
Yeah.
Coming up.
30 seconds off the line.
Are we all right wind-wise this way, or do we need to jibe?
Should I think we should go for it?
Yeah, let's go.
Stand by. Go down in 2.
Tash Bryant, Hannah Diamond trimming for her behind.
Low time. Bad plan.
Yep, I will.
10 knots.
Wobbles
Nice.
there through that jibe.
Big rescue. All the way up.
Touchdown. Left it too late to get back into that pressure. I think the British team, can they dig the boat back out? The Swiss team.
Got you. I need to avoid.
Swiss team are actually the giveaway boat here, so they will need to go up around the back of the British, which they do.
My bad, girls. Good job.
So they're almost on lay line. Almost on lay line, the Swiss team, so
Will be early tuck.
Adding power.
big gains there for Alinghi Red Bull Racing. Sailing down that boundary in pressure and just making a last-ditch run to that gate, so they'll be smart to possibly even jibe while they still can here in pressure and get back into that breeze on the left-hand side looking upwind.
Another indicator of how clean and efficient you must be in the AC40 to avoid losing a place and valuable points. Oh! Hang on a moment, spoke too soon. Alinghi Red Bull Racing off the foils. There goes Athena, pathway Great Britain.
No, I can't.
Oh, they're struggling to get around the mark. Watch out who's coming in. Orient Express and L'Oreal Racing.
Could be a full restart here, Stephen, of this race with sailing into this lighter pressure, breeze blowing down from up the top. Whoever can stay on their foils here will potentially win the race as the Italians coming to the bottom.
5 knots of wind pressure down here. Impossible to get going.
Wait for it. How are the Italians handling it?
No problem, siamo nella zona con più vento.
Oh, that's a foiling graveyard at the bottom end of the course here. The Americans, what can they do? They're going to be sailing into this light air pressure as well. It's going to be a race back to the left-hand side of the course, back into that pressure.
Let's go displacement around
Americans
the
are down.
Oh
no!
We're down.
Can.
Would you believe it?
The other marks and it's easier to
It
take
is
off,
the
or
maddest
is it
racetrack. Currently at the top of the course is 15 knots of wind.
Yeah.
It is coming their way.
Let's jibe.
Skeletons running around everywhere here.
I've got to say though, if you're Emirates Team New Zealand going to the top of the course and if it's moving down towards it, you're actually going, oh, this is actually all right. We might be able to just pull something out of the hat here.
Well, if they take off, which they have.
Rounding up in 2, 1.
This is a replay of the Swiss.
Back into this year, the Swiss sailing there. They had one chance, I think, and that was actually to use all their speed they generated and actually drive the boat round that other gate. So it is now a race to take off. Some of the boats potentially close to take off at the bottom, possibly Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, getting the first pressure coming down that left side. British will also start getting their nose into that breeze, but Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, for me, are launched.
And everybody in the short crew breathes a sigh of relief.
For drop and 3, 2, 1, we're down.
Saranno le inglesi.
Dai.
Entering.
E board up. Come siamo messe?
Vai dritta così, DMG.
Yeah, easy cross for Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli.
They will sail up into that new pressure before the other boats around them, so expect them to extend. The other teams sailing across to that light air section, which we've been able to identify with the wind field, but they should also be able to see that with their eyes. Teams that have done the best job of getting back to that pressure again are now leading the race, which generally happens in these situations.
Just 2 of us up at the moment, huh?
Yeah, just 2. Everyone else is on the foil.
Copy. Quando vuoi.
38 knots of boat speed. The Kiwis come into the job at the top of the course. They are a long way behind, and they won't be able to dig their way back into this race, but it shows you how much pressure and wind is coming down on the top end of the course.
C'è pressione qua, c'è pressione. Coming up. Parti in 5. C'è tutta pressione qua davanti. Press.
Dalla destra.
We're definitely seeing two different winds fighting against each other on this tiny racetrack. It's going to be a massive gear shift. 15 knots of breeze at the top of the course.
One down.
Oh, and a massive vent there. Got too high on the foils. Luna Rossa, the British now, will just sail straight past them. Enough breeze, though, for Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli to immediately refoil, but they've lost about 6 or 8 boat lengths in that manoeuvre.
Righty. Press into it.
Yeah,
Whenever you're...
Okay, bad wave here. Right.
No.
Stand by. 2, 1, forward down.
Siamo a 14 nodi, ragazzi.
Foil vent has meant that this race is now back on again, so a solid lead thrown away by Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, but they are still in the hunt. They need to keep sailing well.
Just
having a quick look at the replay here of that tack. Just getting through here. Big load, a little too long there with the windward foil down. Just sheeting on hard, punching out of a wave. Full ventilation there on the foil, so mistake, unfortunately. Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, but they are still in the hunt, just hanging on by the skin of their teeth. The race lead in race 2 here in Barcelona.
Turning.
Team have right away. Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli having to give way, but they may be just ahead. The English decided to attack underneath. Shirley almost on ley line for the top mark. Possibly one more manoeuvre for the British. Italians possibly on ley for right turn.
C'è vento, fidati di me, ti prego. C'è vento.
Va bene.
C'è onda e vento.
Va bene.
So at this point of the race, race 2 of the Group A in the PUIG Women's America's Cup, with 3 teams, half the fleet up and foiling. There goes Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli leading around Athena Pathway, Great Britain. Winner in race number 1.
Anna Mills, Saskia Clark wrestling the bull around the top mark there, doing a nice job just keeping under control there. 40 knots of boat speed.
Just sail our boat here.
See the bottom of the course as these boats are sailing downwind. Those 3 boats that didn't get out of that bottom gate and get into that pressure still sitting there, so.
Angle here. We are on a little lefty here. Have you down?
No, not leeward.
So Italy looked to have good pace to me, even though they had that touchdown coming upwind for the second time. They do look to be beautifully in balance, and that means they just have good speed. But today's going to be about the 4 races being consistent. You don't have to win every race to win the regatta. And for, I think, Italy and Great Britain, it'll be about being consistent through the day and trying to minimise the risk of a touchdown.
I call for the jibe, okay?
Totally agree
25 to boundary down.
with Peter there.
20 to boundary.
Maria Giulia,
No problem.
Julia Conti,
Step by board down.
on starboard
And
there.
3, 2, 1. Board down.
Handing over to Margarita Porro and Julia Faber. Really nice job of just staying in the pressure, sailing fast.
Julia Conti, the real leader in that team. She's a 3-time Olympian. Ivan raced against her back in 2004. really solid, experienced performer, world champion in the women's skiff class. Has brought a calmness to this young team.
Yes.
So the
Yes. Big power
Go
up.
straight into the high performance sailing, that's for sure. Just sailing into some really light air down the bottom here. You see American Magic still parked.
So the weather conditions play havoc in race number 2, but we get a winner, and it's a different winner this time. It's going to be a slow finish to Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, but they get across the line.
Massive wind shift, I think, Shirley.
Yeah, it's coming off the shore, and that's why they really struggle to get across the line there.
Gee whiz, this may be a full transition shutdown here. This could throw the race on its head. You can see there a complete shutdown, transition zone and new wind direction. Athena Pathway here, caught in between two breezes. This could throw the race wide open as they come into the finish. Two breezes fighting each other. Which one will win out, we will see shortly.
So Athena Pathway, Great Britain, might have to get the paddles up, but look out who's coming in at pace. Will they hit it? Alingi Red Bull Racing. Hold on here. Points on offer, and oh boy. Wait for it.
They'll just sail straight into no breeze here, and they just coast past with their boat speed. Absolute transition zone here. And they are just going to just hopefully get past.
My word, how quickly has that changed in a blink?
Will be the boats possibly even coming from behind. That might be the biggest gainers here, depending on what happens. But
Alingi Red Bull Racing have passed Athena Pathway, Great Britain, but are they going to get there? It looks close, but let's take a look at the nose and where the finish line is, and we'll tell you. That's how close it is. Holding, waiting. Yes, Alingi Red Bull Racing take position 2 in race number 2.
They did well, they saw the opportunities, the Swiss, they kept a calm head. Got that very valued second spot.
Try to go up, Nat, if you can. Wow. Go up, which way? Okay, this way. It's going to be attacked.
It is crazy weather here, almost 180 degrees different to what we have at the other end of the course. This breeze coming off the land.
Probably want to get quite through this line so don't get
keep pressing there.
possibly some of these other teams in risk of timing out if they can't get from the top mark down through this transition zone. Athena Pathway inching their way across the line there.
Make sure we don't drift back through. Might be tacking in a second.
And they are across. Athena Pathway, Great Britain. Win race 1, finish 3rd in race number 2, and pick up the 5 points for that 3rd place finish. So that was a replay of race number 2 5 days ago, believe it or not, 5 days ago for Group A in the PUIG Women's America's Cup. But hey, here's some good news. They're not going back in because we think, surely, we might be going racing.
Yeah, tough day for race management today. It is all happening. The breeze has started that march to the right. It is now in the northeast between 6 and 11 knots. And so it's been a full reset. We can see here the teams are just doing their warm-up, their pre-race warm-up and preparation. So good news. We're pretty sure we're going to see some racing. The wind is forecast to rotate all the way around to the southeast. So, you know, I wonder if that right-hand side of the track is going to be dominant. We can also see from these onboard shots, we still have that swell. So not an easy ride in this race for sure. Peter, you've been watching the teams warm up. What's your thoughts? What's going to be the key in this race?
So, okay, just a slight technical on that one, but that's okay. This is the most encouraging thing we have seen. As you can look at the clock on top left of your screen, we are effectively just 15 minutes away from the start of race number 5 of Group A, and that's the encouraging thing. Initially, we thought they were going to go back into the dock because there wasn't enough racing. We're going to go racing at 2 p.m. local, but guess what? It's 12:20 local, and they are expecting race number 5 in Group A to go at 12:35. So that's the encouraging thing. The hardest thing is for race management to figure it all out. Look at that beautiful boat just sailing in front of the Barcelona beach. You can just see the magnificent culture and history in this place that has just got people flocking in and getting ready for the PUIG Women's America's Cup and also the match, which starts on Saturday. One thing that gets you going is that the America's Cup has always been a high-stakes, high-adrenaline game, but the foiling revolution, man, it's taken it to a new realm. It's spawned a new generation of sailors who fly rather than sail their boats, and Lingy has assembled a top squad that represents the future of Swiss sailing.
Amazing to be part of the first ever Women's America's Cup. It's a privilege to be part of one of the teams and hopefully paving the way for more women. Sailing has been a male-dominant sport, and making my way here really is incredible, and I'm so proud of that.
To me, racing the first Women's America's Cup is a big opportunity and demonstrate that we can be better than the men. I hope that this brings also more girl and new girl in the sailing environment.
To prepare for the Women's America's Cup, it's a lot of details together that has to be perfect on the D-Day. So right now we for sure working on the technical part has been done, and now we need to work on details to be the best we can be, the 4 of us on the boat.
The training now it's super great in Barcelona because we're spending a lot of time here, so we stay in the environment of the Cup, and also we can be with all the team members, and it creates great relationship, which is important for the racing. There's going to be such tight situations, and these boats are rockets. We need to be making decisions in split seconds, and bringing that all together as a team will be the most rewarding feeling. So I'm super excited for that.
So the training sessions we had so far were a bit of a mix of sailing the AC40 and also doing some sim sessions. My expectation for the Youth and Women's America's Cup is a big event, one of the most spectacular events in the world. We are in Barcelona, in a big city. I never sailed with the audience, so it will be a new experience, but also a big opportunity for the women's team. Being in the first Women's America's Cup is super unique. I think it's something we were not able to dream of before. Yeah, I think it's super good, and for the young women, it's I hope they're gonna watch it, and they will think they can do it later.
I'm super proud to be part of the first ever in history of the Women's America's Cup, and I'm proud of this new generation that wants to change some things and to have equity between genders. Yeah, it's a big step for us, and I'm super proud to be part of this event.
And Lingy Red Bull Racing currently sitting in 4th position in the PUIG Women's America's Cup. They're just under the cut line behind Emirates Team New Zealand. Encouraging news on the waters of Barcelona. We are going to go racing potentially at 12:35 for race number 5 in Group A of the PUIG Women's America's Cup. In the meantime, here's a condensed version of race number 3, day 1.
This is going to be the tightest start yet.
This is the umpire's penalty USA relative to France.
So it's rush hour at the start, ahead of race number 3 in the PUIG Women's America's Cup, and we are racing.
Good start by Athena Pathway, Hannah Mills. They've practiced that a few times.
Shift average, 15 knots.
Impressive extension on the fleet.
Make a touch more, Ken. Copy. Breeze coming on in 2. The inversion's good there, Tam.
Team New Zealand.
42 boundary.
Windward into the line, getting off the line relatively cleanly. Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli a few seconds late to that start.
Okay, team.
Not getting their time on distance from that far side like they'd like to. They're still in the race.
When they tack,
A big battle now. Clear air. This next tack.
American Magic got a penalty for a windward lured situation in that pre-start. They must drop back.
Massive touchdown by Malingi Red Bull Racing. They will lose valuable metres in this early stages.
Okay, stand by. Forward down in 2. 1, forward down. Your wheel, no issue.
We've seen throughout this racing, whether it's the Senior Cup or the Youth America's Cup, how crucial getting off the start line is. Oh, big crash down for Lingy Red Bull Racing.
Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli digging their way back through the fleet after a poor start, so they'll be wanting to charge their way through. Big dip there by the Swiss around the back of the Italians. And the Italians sort of out of phase with the rest of the fleet, so punching through some dirty air compared to the rest of the fleet. They'll just need to sail a clean race to get back into this. Top 3, really close race in the top half of this first beat. Oh, Norrie Express Loyal Racing, punching it out of the back of a wave, out of that tack as well. They'll be paying an 8 to 12 boat length penalty in the rebuild there.
Italians, good shift on that right-hand side. Back in the game.
Yeah, out of phase, and now challenging for the lead, so they are the giveaway boat compared to Emirates Team New Zealand. They'll duck in behind there, but snaking their way back through the fleet from being last off the line to be now in 3rd position and absolutely charging.
Athena Pathway, Great Britain. Away they go, lead the fleet. They know what to do here. Close intersection between Emirates Team New Zealand and Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. The fleet is tight at this point.
22 boundary.
Orient Express, L'Oreal Racing go through in 4th position. Then it's American Magic who had that boat-on-boat penalty, but they're still in the hunt. It's rough. It's rough out there.
This is the umpire's penalty New Zealand relative Italy and penalty clear.
I've got some loose moments on board. Athena Pathway in this jibe, it's not over yet. Got to get it locked in there. That was a very, very close moment to a big foil ventilation as they went into that jibe. So nice job to just hang on to it. Hannah Mills, Saskia Clark handing over
This is the
to
umpire's
Tash Bryant.
boundary penalty GBR.
Athena Pathway miles over the boundary.
Oh, and a big touchdown, Athena Pathway. Oh, they've really got the plough attached to the front of that boat.
Just can't really get locked in this run.
Huge gains to the Italian team as the Kiwis and the French come charging in from that other gate right-hand turn at the top. So fierce battle. all about sailing well and locking in, doing your job accurately on the boat.
This is what we wanted to see. It's such a good battle.
Pony Express L'Oreal Racing, a brilliant job. Just off the hip there of Emirates Team New Zealand.
This is the umpire's New Zealand boundary penalty.
An unforced error there for the Kiwis. We're disappointed with that 75-metre penalty. Oh, and they've got plenty going on here.
Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli still doing a number on the rest of the fleet in conditions that have really got up and put all the fleet under pressure to handle these mobile roller coasters. They're around.
These women definitely not scared of the pace and the performance of these boats. Absolutely at ease.
If they can master getting off the start line, Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli look dangerous.
Danger is their middle name. Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli will steam home in this third race of the PUIG Women's America's Cup and take another big chunk out of the rest of the fleet as far as points are concerned. The Italians win and bank 10 big points. Oh yeah, they'll be happy about that.
This is the race committee. The wind sampling is complete and this race is live.
And that's what we wanted to hear. Let's just check course conditions now and see how it stacks up for race 5, Group A.
Yeah, it's looking good, Stephen. We have between 9, 10 knots. It is now round into the northeast, and we're expecting it to keep rotating. But just look at the swell. The ghost boat you see protecting that right-hand side, and I think it is very much right because we think that the breeze is going to head in that direction. The swell's going to be a big talking point in this race, way bigger than the breeze we currently have.
Definitely going to be using some of your surfing skills today. Absolutely getting huge VMG gains for getting on some of these swell lines. So if you're into your surfing and foil surfing, today is the day that you will be very much enjoying.
So this is race 5, the start of the final 4 races in Group A. We already have 3 semi-finals out of Group B, which is Sweden, the Netherlands, and Sail Team Barcelona representing Spain, which are the invited teams. These are the America's Cup teams, and it's now you've got to really put it down if you're below the cut line, which is Sweden, Switzerland, France, and the USA.
Yeah, it's light enough breeze also to be slightly in the danger zone about falling off the foils, particularly in this pre-start when you're sailing through everyone's dirt. So real danger, lots of risk in this pre-start. And France are off the foils. The clock is ticking down. They have to get going.
Really important to take off down swell in these conditions, just using that swell from behind to help accelerate the boat. A bit of a VMG assist. All other teams foiling currently, so Foreign Express L'Oreal Racing really need to get the boat taken off there. You can just see how big that swell is coming through, and there's about 2 different swell angles, so not just one swell angle coming from the one direction, but 2 different swell angles, so we'll see some big lumps. Really big day for the trimmers today.
France still haven't got going. Luna Rossa heading back to the line. Final tack for Athena Pathway. Nice maneuver, plenty of pace. Italian slow a bit early for the line.
Actually got Athena Pathway quite late to this start. Very, very close, but...
Let's go racing on a Thursday. Race 5, Group A, PUIG Women's America's Cup.
Penalty.
The Italians did so well. So well. They were 7 meters back, doing 26 knots. Beautifully judged from a very long way out.
Oh, they're right on the back of a swell at the moment. Emirates Team New Zealand. Joe Alley there with Molly Meach just getting on the top of a really nice swell line off the start, and you just see how much gauge they peeled up on that swell.
France was penalised against Switzerland, but has completed the penalty.
Really important to tack absolute max speed in these conditions.
Okay, first boat tax. We're happy to go in 10.
Okay, Ben, down a bad wave here.
Yep.
That's good
on
on
our space.
that good on the course, Joe. It's speed here.
Oh, the Swiss losing the rudder. That will be a big penalty. They struggle to take off there, back punching into the swell. So unfortunate moment there for Alinghi Red Bull Racing.
Just looking at the pre-start there, that incident we had, France just couldn't really get out the way. They were stuck in the water.
A bit of a sitting duck at that particular time, so they would have paid that penalty off quickly, but unfortunately off the foils. Kiwis executing their tack nicely, top right of screen, so they'll be leading the race. And Athena Pathway doing a good job.
Yeah, this swell state is meaning coming out on port is really difficult. And we're right on the bow of Emirates Team New Zealand as they head towards us. Athena Pathways bow forward into leeward, so they'll be the leading 2 boats. But yeah, port is the hard upwind tack, and downwind is going to be starboard. Downwind will be the hard jibe, just because of the sea state.
Nice, you'll see them now.
Potentially much easier on starboard tack.
Oh, the Kiwis, Shirley, they've just woofed it into the back of a wave and they've come off the foil, so they need to rebuild their speed quickly and take off, or they will get mown down here very, very quickly. Pressure manoeuvre for Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli. Nice tack there.
Starboard definitely the more relaxed of the tacks here. Port, as we see with the Kiwis, so challenging.
Really important to manage the trim and the heel really well, punching into this swell. These boats all being controlled by an auto ride height autopilot, so you still have to manage your ride height though. You can choose to trim up and down.
Taking, and when you're ready, it's 24.
Yeah, at 24. Okay, board down at 2, 1, and turning.
9, 2, 1, order.
Just keeping it on the foils. Emirates Team New Zealand need to get on another big swell here. You can see when you get caught on the back of one how slow you are. The teams that are surfing upwind, big VMG gains. There'll be nothing in this next tack between Athena Pathway and Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, basically level pegging at the moment.
This is the race committee. We are moving the leeward gate, shortening to 0.9 nautical miles.
Well, the Americans off the foils. Not good for them. They really needed an outstanding day.
Meanwhile, at the top gate for the first time in race 5, it's the top 3 teams in Group A that are managing to stay ahead of the rest of the fleet. The green circle denoting Emirates Team New Zealand have it right of way. And big points here would certainly push them a little higher and further ahead of Alinghi Red Bull Racing. So they will take that right mark, as you said, and complete leg number 1. All these boats really working hard, but it looks like Emirates Team New Zealand might be off the foils. Whoa. Oh, look at the conditions they're dealing with.
Right on the edge of foiling. Athena Pathway doing a really nice job there to stay airborne. Hannah Mills, Saskia Clark, Tash Bryant, Hannah Diamond.
Yeah, we're right next to Athena Pathway as they come out. They're punching straight into the breeze, as are Luna Russell Prada Pirelli. And it's all about just keeping that apparent wind forward and then being very, very conscious that at the top of the swell, you've got good pressure. The bottom of the swell, that wind speed differential is huge. So good trimming and helming essential.
Athena Pathway, Shirley right on the edge there of keeping the boat on the foils. They're just off, so they need to accelerate down a swell and actually get the boat airborne again.
Hannah Mills, Saskia Clark did well not to lose too much pace.
Lee Red Bull Racing finally complete leg number 1 after getting off the falls earlier in the leg.
Max power, speed is increasing. I stop in 3, 2, 1. Here, I'm happy.
Rossa Prada Pirelli just rolling around the bow of Athena Pathway, so that would have hurt Athena Pathway. They would have had to sail through the dirty air. You just see the surfing now. Really, really tricky conditions to sail a boat, and very, very large angle changes of apparent wind angle and in apparent wind speed. So a huge amount of trimming going on the aero package. Emirates Team New Zealand doing a beautiful job, Shirley.
Yeah, they have come down this run. Quite a lot more pressure, though it doesn't look easy. Jo Allais. Gemma Jones behind her trimming. Big day for the trimmers, this.
Every manoeuvre very, very key. Hopefully they've managed to keep the boat just airborne. You see the big, big surf there. The boat will accelerate for the Kiwis, but they only just kept on top of that.
Yeah, both the British just getting a bit of pace, but will have to manoeuvre. Italians off the foils. Huge power in the sails. Look at the depth in that mainsail.
Beautiful jibe on Athena Pathway, sailing straight round Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. They will have to jibe, and very, very difficult to take off, punching back into that swell direction on port jibe. So they'll need some more pressure, more breeze. If you have wind, you can punch through using that extra power, but it doesn't get any more breeze, you're in big trouble.
Okay, this is a medium right number.
Tash Bryant steering there, and a diamond behind her.
More pressure coming on in 10, 15.
This is the race committee. We are moving the windward gate, shortening the course to 0.8 nautical miles.
Kiwis have just had a splashdown at the bottom of the course. It's just really tricky with these swells, and what it's about is when you do a manoeuvre, you want to be doing it on the front face of the swell, not on the back face where you're deaccelerating. So there's really big opportunities for the trailing boats to come at the Kiwis here because they're stuck in the water.
British boat in great pressure there. There they are, flying down. Getting ready for the jibe back.
2, 1, 4 down. Landing. I will. Yeah, all the way around. 9 knots. 11 away. Yeah, cool. Nice work. Rolling away.
The British,
Yeah, got you all the way.
If they stay on the foils here, they will be leading at this bottom gate. Emirates Team New Zealand just were a little slow turning their boat. Washed off a lot of speed before actually getting back to full power again in that jibe. So the British team will sail straight round them if they can keep their boat on the foils. And we have Alinghi Red Bull Racing also coming down the course on the foils as well.
Alinghi Red Bull Racing currently under the cut line, sitting in fourth, so it could be a big moment for them.
So difficult to take off on port jibe back into that swell, so you really need probably another knot to even 2 knots of true wind speed to actually get the boat to take off on port versus starboard.
Athena Pathway, Great Britain take the lead in leg 2 of 4. The threat might now come from a Alinghi Red Bull Racing. It just depends how they manage this bottom half of the course.
I think Athena Pathway there, Stephen, really struggling to actually get the boat back up to speed to get this jibe in, so they're getting close to the boundary. Could be the Swiss that actually come through in good shape. All about this jibe for Athena Pathway.
Yeah, British just going into a jibe. They were actually, to keep the apparent wind forward, they were actually going upwind there, sailing away from the bottom mark gate. Then they went into the jibe, but unfortunately for them, they have touched down, and certainly coming back out on port is really difficult to get the boat elevated out of the water. Looks like the New Zealanders, who are right next to us at the moment, are just about foiling again. But to windward of them, we've got the Swiss coming down faster and sailing about 20 degrees deeper.
Yeah, the Swiss just need to keep it going. There's actually really good pressure, bottom right-hand side of the track. The Swiss just need to get into it before that final manoeuvre. And back to the gate. Oh, well saved.
Athena Pathway, I think, have also taken off as well. So they've been able to get their boat in a little more pressure to take off. So watching the Swiss here, they need to get this jibe executed. Pick it down, a swell. Nice smooth turn there. Big catch there. And they'll need to get accelerated down.
The Kiwis are still parked, but they have jibed round to starboard. I mean, really the only hope of getting going. Right of ways with Switzerland.
So we were about to complete the halfway stage of race 5, Group A, in the PUIG Women's America's Cup.
This is the race committee. We're shortening the course to 3 legs. Finish at the windward gate.
So this is the last downward leg. So the next time any of these boats hit the top gate, it's the finish line. And Alinghi Red Bull Racing, who are just below the cut line, they stay here. They will push themselves above the cut line. So could be a huge result. Emirates Team New Zealand off the foils.
Wow, we're going to see a big shake-up in these positions. We've got boats foiling, the French and the Luna Rossa team and the American team all foiling. The boats at the bottom end of the course, all off the foils except for Alinghi Red Bull Racing. So expect to see some position changes if these boats can't take off.
Surely the big talking point, group leader, Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, still sort of in that top quarter, back and forwarding, but pressure now really goes on them.
It's a crazy race. You think the Italians, I mean, bossed that start, didn't they? They absolutely nailed it. We're front row at the start. They were essentially equal first with the British at the top and are now in last spot. And if you're the Kiwis, currently looking up the track, you could be very much at the back of this fleet, fighting for your life.
Athena Pathway, Great Britain, now just crawling around the gate. That's the AC40 version of crawling around the gate, but they get there, so their nose is pointed upwind to the finish. Remember, this race has been shortened to 3 legs.
finishing at the top here, so.
Copy. Okay. Shift to right to boundary.
Hannah Mills just out her seat, having a look up the track.
That gives us an idea there of who's doing what. Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, 27 knots, 28 knots of boat speed. Alinghi Red Bull Racing executing their tack off that left boundary, foiling upwind. So if they can make it up to the top and finish, the other boats have to be there at the finish line within 5 minutes of their finish. Otherwise, they'll get timed out and their result will be taken from the bottom gate. So sailing really well, Alinghi Red Bull Racing, a beautiful tack and sailing the boat nicely locked in. Very, very tricky conditions punching into this swell.
Whenever you have the speed, in 5. 3, 2.
Steering there, Alexandra Stadler, junior world champion in the women's skiff.
And just on the back of that swell, so they come off their foils as well. Crikeys, it's going to be interesting because it's about the boats that can stay on their foils in this race. Even though Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli are well behind, they are foiling, as are the Americans. So all about executing, surfing, and trying to stay on the face of those swells to execute your manoeuvres.
I've been quite surprised that the Kiwis haven't managed to get up and going. They've done a few jibes now. I guess it's something that you can't practice on the simulator. It's just so specific.
They've certainly thrown away a lot of distance. Emirates Team New Zealand, they just had to get down to that bottom gate and around, so decided to not even worry about the gate, just try and get foiling.
Looks like Alinghi Red Bull Racing are back up and foiling. Here's the story. American Magic, they need points. They need points fast with 3 races after this if they want to try and make the cut. They're currently in 3rd position. You can follow your team on the bottom of your screen. But this could be the story of the opening day, part of the day. Alinghi Red Bull Racing sitting just below the cut line coming into race 5. And they have just handled these rather tricky conditions at this point pretty well. So well, they've got one more tack and then it'll be across the finish line. And they're not going to mow the lawn too much on this one.
Catch it, yes. I hold this one, I hold here.
And in comes Alinghi Red Bull Racing. They will get 10 points. Those 10 points, once they cross the line, will push them above the cut line and into 3rd position. Big start to the day for Alinghi Red Bull Racing.
Can we confirm that we finish? Let's go down. You can press
That's huge. That is absolutely huge in the scale of Group A right now.
Confirmed.
They sailed so well. I mean, cool. And it is really, really tricky conditions. We had a 17-minute race, and look how spread out these very good teams are. It is full-on, unstable, funky, difficult conditions.
It is, and the boats behind all coming off their foils, and they all have to finish within 5 minutes of Alinghi Red Bull Racing, otherwise they will be scored from the previous gate. So that race to the bottom gate, very, very critical to get some points on the board.
This is the other big talking point as far as the points go, because if Athena Pathway, Great Britain, can stay in this position, they go to the top of the ladder. It would be equal points with Italy, but we're working on the last result. So this could be another swing in this whole regatta.
They'll need to be getting to that finish line before they time out. About 2 and a bit minutes to go, so they should get there in time, all things being equal, and they'll get that 7 points. So they'll be wanting that finish line to be motoring towards them as much as possible, which it won't be.
on the bow now. Kind of almost catching up to them on this angle.
Yeah, copy. Hold that weight just right there.
Copy.
starboard, American Magic. Steering on that starboard side, Erika Renneke trimming for her, Louisa Nordstrom.
It's probably another minute this way. And I see it high.
Hannah Mills, Saskia Clark there. No need for the goggles right at the moment in these light air conditions.
Okay, stand by. Touch. Out if we can. Try.
Very calm on board, very clean comms. Kept it calm throughout this race and are about to reap the rewards.
Only entering that tack at about 22 knots of boat speed. So very, very difficult to keep the boat foiling in less than 23, 24 knots of boat speed in these bumpy conditions. So I'll have enough in the bank though to sneak through in front of the Americans, who are just on their foils behind them, but cleaner pathway should be safe for second.
Yep, it doesn't matter how you get across the line, just get across the line. And that's a big second place finish.
Penalty New Zealand, boundary penalty New Zealand.
For Athena Pathway, Great Britain. They get the 7 points and go to the top of Group A after race 5. Fans are happy about that, and why wouldn't they be? But here's the other story, a team that was sitting at the bottom of Group A and points valuable.
New Zealand need to lose about 100 metres compared to USA.
Once they finish, they'll get the points. They will still be 6th place, but 3 more races to go. And weather conditions like this, anything can change.
American Magic just putting plenty in the bank there, reaching across at 90 true to then make sure they pull off their final tack.
And American Magic get their first podium finish in the PUIG Women's America's Cup. You can hear the delight on their voices. That's a 3rd place finish, 5 points, and well done.
Yeah. We can't bear away here, right? Are we going to get back down?
On board Lingy Red Bull Racing, who picked up their first win in this regatta.
This is the umpires. New Zealand, you have a second penalty, not doing the first within a minute.
And Natalie Brugier joins us right now. Congratulations, that must feel so good.
Yeah, it's really good actually. It was such a tricky race, and to be honest, the girls did an amazing job to stay on the foils. We had a few scary moments when we fall off the foils, but we all were 100% on the board, in the board, and it was an amazing job.
Natalie, massive congratulations. You really needed a good race and you delivered. How hard was it to keep a calm head and keep going?
I'm not sure we were the most calm on board, to be honest. There was a bit of stress for sure, but yeah, we had to deliver and we hope to keep going.
Just give us a little bit of insight into the conditions. The waves, the swell looks massive.
Yeah, we actually have massive waves from behind us on starboard, so a lot of driving. And technique-wise, it's really tough, and I don't think we ever train in that condition, so a lot of focus for everyone on board, and yeah, it was a tough one, and we look forward to keep going.
All right, congratulations. By the way, Natalie, you've moved above the cut line, so you sit in 3rd position, so you're a little step closer to tomorrow's semi-finals. Long way to go, though.
Yeah, it is a long way to go. 3 more races, and yeah, everything can happen, so we need to be very concentrated for the next 3 races.
Congratulations, Natty. Well done.
Thanks.
So you're watching Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. They have timed out. Just a reminder, points-wise, they sit now in 2nd position. Let's confirm fleet race number 5. Won for the first time in this regatta by Lingy Red Bull Racing. Big points, puts them into 3rd position ahead of Athena Pathway, who now go top, and New York Yacht Club's American Magic. Great job done by those top 3 teams. Just shuffled things up a bit. Here are your points right now. The leaders of Group A, Athena Pathway, followed by Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, and then Alingi Red Bull Racing, Emirates Team New Zealand. Now they are below the cut line.
Well, at the start, it was the Italians, Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, who absolutely nailed it at the pin end, at pace, closest to the line, but coming off the starboard end of the start line were the Kiwis. When we got to the top, it was a three-way battle between Great Britain and Italy, and the Kiwis just powering down that leg. Things got a little funky from there. So hard to stay on the foils, downwind into that massive swell. But coming down that leg at 30 knots, it was Alingi Red Bull Racing. Calm heads, kept it cool, and they win the race. Let's have a look at one of the key moments. Alingi were 1,100 metres back when they started leg 2, but staying on the foils and doing well nearly 30 knots, they not only closed up to Emirates Team New Zealand, but they flew straight past. And moments like this remind us all that we can't take a lead for granted, and also show how quickly you can come back if you play the wind right and stay up on the foils.
Well, the data here, massive difference in average speeds between the teams. The Swiss with 22.27 compared with the slowest at 15.09 for the French. Huge holes in the wind, big shifts too, and obviously big swell. And with everyone being on the edge of falling off the foils, it was a hard day to sail consistently. Hopefully the breeze kicks in a bit more for the next race.
You are watching day 4 of the PUIG Women's America's Cup, trying to complete the qualification round before semi-finals tomorrow. We have been advised by race management that race number 6 will take place, all things being equal, at 10 minutes past 2 local time. So in the meantime, we will give you racing, and we'll go back to race 4, day 1.
This is the race committee. The wind sampling is complete, and this race is live.
Got those 2 port tackers and then no one else. Yeah, we're about 30 seconds off the pin.
Well, let's have a quick check-in with the racetrack. Have a look at that ghost boat, which uses the wind field data. It really likes that long run into the left-hand boundary, maximum pace, maximum distance, and then approaching from the right-hand side.
Yeah, we can't drive at the moment.
Let's go into the water, Peter Lester.
Looks more settled. I think things have settled down a wee bit. That breeze coming, or the wind coming out of about 210 has actually won the day, and this one looks more settled. We've still got that difficult sea state, and jibing from starboard to port. Watch out for that on leg 2.
Teams working their way a lot further downwind now before the start in these windy conditions. So the dirty air off all the boats, less drastic and less critical in these windy conditions. So boats are a little more efficient now, and that dirty air not quite as disastrous in the pre-start. So plenty of power on offer.
Yeah, a lot less risk from that. But the box is small when you're going at 20, 30 knots. Quickly getting across to the boundary.
All teams using their training wheels at the moment, putting that windward foil down and just stabilising the boat, just making the boat easy to sail.
All about time and distance now. That'll be the comms on board. When to tack, head back.
Yeah, have to get low if we can. Pressing here. Okay, my wheel. Oh, we're good, actually, yours.
Hannah Mills starting the charge back to the line.
Get deep if we can. Go fast to kill. Not
British
coming
team
down much
potentially
wanting
that left-hand end starting off the pin.
Yeah, coming down a bit now, but still.
Okay, board down. 3, 2, 1, board up. Okay, charge. We go for the roll.
Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli staying high, wanting that right-hand end of the line.
Heel 6.
Red Bull Racing really late potentially for the start. Very, very late approach. Americans possibly late as well.
Athena Pathway have the left-hand end all to themselves.
Still pressing for target.
Race 4, Group A. PUIG Women's America's Cup.
How much, sir? 285. No, how much, sir? 5 left. Okay,
Americans actually getting a slingshot through the windward end of the line there, so just managed to get around the back of the Kiwis and have to go through the eye of the needle.
Best start was the Italians, only 9 metres back and at pace. Tight battle this, closest we've seen them all.
Really interesting as they come off this boundary, boat into that boundary, having right of way to be able to tack over, but only have rights while they stay in that boundary. So the other teams having to tack and let them out of that boundary.
Simultaneous tacks between the British and the Kiwis, powering over to the right-hand side of the course.
Okay.
The boat's getting a clean tack away. Have a really tight battle across here. All about keeping the foot down, steering and trimming well for maximum performance. You see the teams that are doing this well, taking gains. The ones that touch down and get wobbly, sliding backwards.
Joelle having a look. She battled Hannah Mills for Olympic glory for nearly a decade. Here they are back on the racetrack, eyeing each other up.
USA actually the right-of-way boat here.
Speed will help us with the wave, so it's slightly wider than target
The
angle.
Italians having to give way.
Intersection with Athena in 5.
By Richard
They're
Slater
going
and his
across
team.
by 1. Happy, same with Prada behind
Thinking
them.
they're well and truly across the port tackers there, so no foul. And
Count as a 60. You're happy with that? Not happy. Okay.
well and truly in this race.
American Magic really needs a good race, sitting at the bottom of the table.
Good speed. Good mode with New Zealand.
Great to see them back in the game here.
Might have one and in right from here.
Ripping tack on board, Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli. They just flicked the boat round beautifully on a nice part of the swell, just turning as the boat was dipping down into the swell and accelerating out the other side. So very, very close race at the top.
Yeah, cool. Target's 30.
Italians across the front of the Americans. This top sector of the course, you'll see all the boats start converging to get closer to this top gate. Luna Pathway, though, Shirley, look like they're getting a nice little wind out to that top right-hand side of the course. Taking some gains, possibly not in pressure, but in angle.
Big loss to Luna Rossa there. British team did really well on the right-hand side of the track.
This had one in it left, copy.
Peter was saying earlier, very difficult to see the wind on the water in these really lumpy conditions with the glare and with some water on your goggles. Sitting down low, sometimes tricky, but big right-hand shift there. The British team making the most of that, sailing a shorter distance to the top there, getting bent up towards that top mark. So taking a game, shorter distance sail, take a commanding lead going into this top part of the course.
Leader pathway, Great Britain. They already have one win. It was the opening race of the day, and they did a sterling job on that. Can they repeat it in the last race of the opening day of the PUIG Women's America's Cup? We've been waiting a long time to see them ripping at high speeds and in close quarters, and that is exactly what you are getting. Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, American Magic.
Angle at 2, 1, angle.
Emirates Team New Zealand.
19.
A little bit of a wobble coming around, and right behind them, Orient Express L'Oreal Racing.
Straight inside there into a jibe. Kiwis just getting high and slow, just staying on the foils there with a really down speed manoeuvre.
Driving in 20.
Letting Red Bull Racing get around.
Pitch. Main starting. A lot of pressure in front, please.
Teams absolutely flying on this downwind. The TV not doing justice of how fast these boats are really going, but the spray coming off that little carbon fibre foil is any indication of how fast the boats are going.
Okay, body flat
on board.
45, 2, 1, pop jump up. Good number here.
Very tidy upwind for Great Britain. We're into a more normal pattern now, where we've seen late in the day the wind wants to go to the right, a bit more angle in the right, but more importantly, flatter water and pressure. And that was what Hannah Mills and the team picked up to get into the lead. It'll just be interesting now to see whether they can hold off Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, because they look fast.
See how fast the Italians can send it downwind.
Can we try 0.6 here?
The British team doing everything they can to hold them off.
And slightly. Chop for 10.
We've seen these flags battling it out, almost even performance for the last week and a half on the AC75s.
Close to lay, they'll be driving.
Absolutely nothing in between those two boats, nothing in between these two boats either.
Square.
The Italian team now having right of way, surely, over the British, so decision now on the British of how to handle this. They'll probably duck up behind the Italian team. No, I was wrong. They decided to jibe. Close to ley line, but possibly another manoeuvre needed by both boats. Italians closer to laying in than the British.
Both these teams have worked really closely with their Youth America's Cup teams, and we'll come to this with plenty of information and settings. No surprise that they are rapid.
Also, Prada Pirelli displaying how much you can get speed out of these one-make AC40s, but right on them is Athena Pathway, Great Britain.
Little left shift coming down there, so we couldn't see that on our screens, but British doing a nice job driving on lay. Well and truly in the mix. Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli just taking a small advantage.
Americans are through, so too will the Orient Express L'Oreal Racing, pushing hard against Emirates Team New Zealand. And the Red Bull Racing appear to have had a fairly solid downwind leg. We're halfway through race 4.
Hannah Mills there saying left shift, so that left shift they did the downwind in, now they are in that on the upwind, potentially going back right again, up over to that right side. American Magic hanging on. Top 3 places is what it's all about in this series. Gains back to the British there, locked in and sailing well. Tash Bryant and a diamond. Business well at the moment.
Poggia un filo, ok, così va bene. Ancora un filo, pressa un filo. Ok, Michael on the deck, che faremo insieme a loro appena buttano giù l'arma. Quindi state stand by. Ok? Va bene. Puffy 2, 1, puff on. My wheel, che presso un po'. Siamo al boundary, siamo al boundary.
Boats coming up to the right-hand boundary, and this could be a crucial manoeuvre for both boats in terms of race 4. Simo Tack. Bina Pathways from Great Britain look to have a little upwind edge, and they really now have got in quite a strong position. For Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli in that leeward position, they'll be trying to reduce the gauge on the windward boat to try and stop Great Britain rolling over the top. Great race.
This is a great race, and what a battle. I've got a feeling this might run and run all week. Quality teams, well drilled, practice, great racecraft. The battle has started.
Better numbers now for me. Easier boat.
Just a few meters between them. Love that shot from the onboard camera. Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli just managed to move forward. Bina Pathway tacking away.
Faster than this.
Boat's getting to open course now, so having to do at least one more manoeuvre each to get to the top. And the British there just taking a little bit of a shift, tacking away from the Italians. So back to that possible favoured right-hand side. We saw that in the last upwind leg. The British taking a huge gain out there, and we're interested to see how it pans out from now.
Oh, American Magic fans will be disappointed. American Magic off the foils. Struggling to get going, even though there's plenty breeze.
They were running in position 3. They were running in 3rd position and looking good for valuable points.
Just having a look at their onboard, see what happened.
Yeah, just a little vent and a little touch down there, but not reacting quick enough to ease the sails and actually bear the boat away. So holding the boat high, washing all your speed off, then basically having no lift from that little foil. So needed to ease the sails quickly, bear away to keep the speed on.
Well, the battle for first place is well and truly on. Coming back on port, Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, neck and neck with the British team.
Okay, 5, 2, 1,
It's coming up to the next cross, and we're on the left-hand side. It does look to me as though Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli are just ahead, and they'll be able to get round the bow of Great Britain, and that's a crucial cross as we come into the top mark for the last time.
Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli nailing it on them. They know the British are dangerous.
So Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli in defensive mode as they complete the 3rd leg of 4. They're heading home. They make it 3 in a row today. Or will Athena Pathway Great Britain have something to say about that? It only takes one wobble.
Really nothing in that beat, so both boats splitting and coming back, and it was really just a slight gain to the Italians, but been able to tack in front of the British, give them a little bit of dirty air just for a short period, and then execute a really high-speed slingshot bear away, and have turned that into a 100-metre lead.
These manoeuvres crucial on this battle.
Real battle for this 3rd position between Orient Express L'Oreal Racing and Emirates Team New Zealand, 3rd and 4th, as you see it at the moment.
Big battle for first and second, and we've got a big battle for third and fourth currently at the moment. So both these teams needing to push hard on this downwind for those valuable points at the finish.
Currently the Kiwis in third place overall. Remember, after this series, it is full reset. Just have to make the top three. They have to keep pushing.
The completion of this race will be at the halfway point of this series. Top three boats going through to the final, going to the top three of the Group B invited teams, so important to make that top three cut. Italians extending on this downwind, Shirley sailing the boat beautifully.
Impressive racecraft from Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, and also really calm comms. You get the feeling that they've been working with Jimmy and Bruni on that, very considered.
Square, bending qua. Arriva davanti a te.
Beautiful sail control from board Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, really nice. Nicely locked in on roll, which is so important on these AC40s. It's important on the 75s as well, as it is on most boats, but controlling the leeway, very, very critical on a foiling boat.
Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, they had a bit of a wobble in race number one, but they've certainly found their form now, and they are in a rhythm. They will hit the line here in race 4, and that will be 3 race wins in a row for Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli on the opening day of the PUIG Women's America's Cup. You can bet they're happy about that. Followed in by Athena Pathway, Great Britain. These two teams signalling they could be the teams to beat. Yep, happiness all around. Britannia fans, or should I say British fans, and also Italian fans as well. Oh, it's been a big 24 hours, hasn't it? Big 24 hours for both those supporters. Now, how about this one?
Big cross coming up here, very, very close. The French pushing hard, just a jibe in front to try and take this valuable set of points. Oh, they're loose here. The French, they've just got it under control.
And they hold on, the French. Orient Express, L'Oreal Racing, they need some points. And they will get it. Valuable points for Orient Express and L'Oreal Racing. Third position, followed home by Emirates Team New Zealand. That was the last race, race 4 on day 1, Group A, and Athena Pathways Great Britain surely have really started to battle it. We saw the battle unfolding between them and the Italians, didn't we?
It was such a good day of racing, wasn't it? And it looks set to continue. I mean, they are neck and neck on the points. I mean, really different teams. The British team is full of Olympic medals and experience, and this, it's led by Giulia Conte, who's been to the Olympics a lot, I think 3 or 4 times, but a really young team, but sailing the boat so smoothly. This is gonna roll and roll.
Well, race 5 today, the script has been flipped because with their finish, and the Italians not doing so well today, Athena Pathway Great Britain are now on top of the table, despite, of course, the times being scored. It goes back to the last race sailed. So Athena Pathway sitting on top of the pile with Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, and Lingy Red Bull Racing, their first win, and they are now above the cut line. Remember, the top 3 go into the semi-finals tomorrow. Cannot wait, but there's more racing still to come. When you think about Athena Pathways Great Britain and the way they're performing, think about this. More than 300 athletes put their hands up and applied to sail for them after an intensive 18-month trial comprising an on-water simulator-based analysis. The list of hopefuls was whittled down to an elite squad led by 2-time world champion and Olympic medalist Hannah Mills.
It's incredibly exciting. to have the opportunity to race as an all-women's team in the America's Cup feels like it's been a long time coming.
It's a super, super exciting time to be involved with sailing. These boats are incredible and these machines are just awesome.
It's the first ever Women's America's Cup. You know, we want to make history and we want to try and win that. And I guess I feel like we're hopefully pushing through the door so that, you know, the next generation of females to come, there's going to be huge opportunity off the back of this. So yeah, I feel very privileged and honoured to be a part of it. We've had a really long journey to get to this point. You know, we launched the Athena Pathway program. Ben Ainsley and myself launched it kind of back in 2021. It felt like with the announcement of the Women's and Youth America's Cup, it was just a big opportunity in British sailing to try and build a pathway into the top level of our sport. And since then, you know, there's been a lot of work back in the UK on working with WASP and getting the next generation foiling back in the UK, which has been a really cool part of the project. And then obviously with the Women's and Youth Cup, we've had the AC40 simulator out, did a lot of training on that. That's how we did our selection process. And then we had a phase where we were with Ineos Britannia and we were upskilling a lot of our sailors and a lot of our shore team actually as well. To then move into our own base in Barcelona here in Barcelona. The AC40 is amazing to sail. It really rewards accuracy. You know, if you get the heel slightly wrong, it can be a big wipeout. The racing is just amazing. You know, you've got 6 boats going around a race course, bouncing off boundaries, coming together all of the time, and just the communication between the 4 people on board is absolutely critical. There will never be a first one again. This is it. So yeah, it's mega.
Day 4 PUIG Women's America's Cup, trying to complete Group A, and it's already started off with a very good race, but a challenging race, surely. They really had to work hard, the crews in this one.
It really couldn't have been harder, the conditions. That massive swell making every manoeuvre so hard, and we saw that, every boat falling off the foils.
Yeah, I think some of the team's surfing capabilities came to the fro today. Really, really big accelerations and apparent wind angle changes. Very, very difficult to keep the boats on the foils in those conditions.
Emirates Team New Zealand an opportunity to go by right there because they were sitting above the cut line and they were sitting below the cut line. But it's just quickly the talking point of Red Bull Racing, right?
Yeah, they needed a good race and they got it. The Kiwis now have to pull something out the bag to survive this.
Yes, and all of them just want to be in one position, be in that final on Sunday, because then they got the opportunity to go head-to-head with whoever they meet and get the opportunity to hold this aloft. And that'd be the first team ever to raise the PUIG Women's America's Cup trophy high. And to say they're the first, that is just such a very cool thing. Where did the standings sit? Because we've still got 3 races to go in Group A. So Athena Pathway, lead from Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli and Lingy Red Bull Racing. On the other side of the equation, Group B is completed and the 3 going through. The very slick Swedish challenge powered by Artemis Racing. Look out for Yacht, Team Dutch Sail, and then the local Sail Team Barcelona. As I've said, be very careful about them. Keep looking over your shoulder. Still more racing to come. We're going to be back here at 2:10 this afternoon for fleet races 6, 7 and 8. How will it all finish up? Well, we don't know, because that's the good thing about this. The way the points go, anybody could finish anywhere, but we know the good teams, and the battle between Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli and Athena Pathways Great Britain will continue on. Will the Swiss stay in 3rd position? They're only 5 points ahead of Emirates Team New Zealand. And can the New York Yacht Club's American Magic bag some more points after finishing 3rd in that last race? The improvers keep on improving, and the big guns keep on gunning. Stay with us. We're back at 2:10 local time for more racing in Group A of the PUIG Women's America's Cup.